I'm Amy, and this is The Lotus. So, today I wanted to kind of talk about DV. I've been putting it off a little bit, I suppose, but it is definitely an issue that needs to be touched on and talked about, no matter how difficult it may be. DV awareness is something that I feel is lacking as far as bringing attention to it. And I know that that's a difficult place to be in general. Sometimes drawing attention to it can make a situation worse. But not bringing attention to it, makes it impossible to spot. So first I want to say, if there is anyone out there that is hearing this that is in a DV situation, domestic violence, dealing with any kind of abuse, be it emotional, mental, physical, it doesn't matter. If you are being abused in any way, shape, or form, please reach out. Family, friends, if you don't have that, there are places, resources that can absolutely help you. There are shelters that will protect you and keep you and your children safe. Places like the Women's Resource Center, and they have a Women's Resource Center nearly in every county. So just, reach out if you can, do your best. That's all anyone can ever ask of you. That being said, DV with DHS, this component is tricky. Typically, there are many situations that look like DV that aren't. Then there is an issue of drug-induced DV and actual, without any induction or inducement, of, foreign chemicals, so to speak. There are just those that are abusive. And regardless of what the situation may be, if you're being abused, it's not a safe place for you or your children, and I know everyone knows that, but at the same time, I also understand that sometimes situations are situational. I get that. But that doesn't ever make it okay. There's no excusing abuse of any kind, I can't express that enough, regardless of your situation, just please reach out. No one deserves to be treated that way. And this particular video is a little bit hard. I've had, my fair share of DV situations across the board, all the way from emotional to physical to sexual, and it's not an easy place to be in, especially when you have children. And if you've got a DV situation where you've got kids and your kids' dad or mom are, the ones are the abusers, it makes it that much more difficult, because they're your children's parent. They're your teammate, or supposed to be, and I feel like DV is widely put on the man, and oftentimes it's not. Sometimes it's the mom, sometimes it's the dad, and I feel like that needs to be recognized more than what it actually is. But, that I know with DHS, they tend to lean towards the dads pretty hard, even when it's not, the dad that's abusive. So, be honest to a point, like, I'm not telling anybody to lie to DHS, but, if it's a drug-induced situation, say that. Don't play into the propaganda of, abuse is abuse, because, it's not necessarily. Um, Nothing is ever truly black and white. There is almost always a gray area, and I feel like domestic violence is one of those gray areas, you know. So, for example, if you have a situation, and I've heard this time and time again from dads, where they'd never put a hands on a woman, and then their wife or their girlfriend puts their hands on them, and they defend themselves in a manner that's not in an abusive way, like trying to restrain her, and they still get charged with domestic violence. And that kind of situation isn't okay. The woman needs to be in trouble too for expressing violence, you know, and and that's one way or the other, be it male or female, it's irrelevant. If someone is putting their hands on you, what are you supposed to do? You can't just lay there and take it. What if it's a really bad situation? You know, um, and so DHS, it's very important that you're honest with them, that you really let them know what the situation is. Regardless of what it is, you've got to tell them point blank, this is drug induced, or this is alcohol induced, or he or she is abusive. Be honest. Don't try to hide it, because if you hide it, no one can help you. And there are so many people out there that want to help but don't know how or when, because you're not reaching out. So I feel like that's very important. And with DHS, when there's a DV component, they always call DHS if the cops are called. Um, and once that happens, if the kids witnessed it, you've got to be very careful, because then you can be charged with child endangerment. And I feel like these entities don't grasp sometimes the severity of the situation, and then you've got parents like myself that are special needs parents, and when I was going through my issues, I called and tried to get help, but I couldn't. Everywhere kept telling me, oh, well, we're not equipped to accommodate those needs, because I have a 4-year-old in a wheelchair. And those things need to be addressed, and the only way they can be addressed is if people start speaking up. If people stand up and say, hey, this is what's going on, this needs to be worked on. What about these parents? What are they supposed to do? If they can't get into a shelter because they have a wheelchair-bound child, that's a problem. And it feels like people are either too scared or too shy to stand up, or they're too wrapped in their trauma to be able to speak out and help others. And that's okay, but please try. From my heart to yours, please try, because there are so many women out there that don't have the ability to ask for help. They are so under wraps and controlled that they're not able to, and I feel like those women need to be protected by those of us that can speak up, that can say something, that can say, hey, these are the signs we need to look for. These are the things that, these women are going through, because we've been there, because we've been through it. And, back to the DHS component, it's very important that you're honest, and it's very important to hold your ground. Don't let them penalize you for being a victim, as they want to put it. You're not a victim, for one. You're a survivor. You will survive this. You can. But DHS tends to, in my opinion, think that, oh, well, if they're a victim, they're a victim. And then they train you to be a victim, and that's not okay. But on the plus side, one of the places they almost always send you is Women's Resource Center. And I can't speak highly enough about that place. Women's Resource Center is amazing. And, once you have your advocate, just tell your advocate what's going on, and they will help you. They will help you get out of the situation. They will help you, manage your trauma. They will help you with counseling, shelters. They're, you name it. They've got groups. They've got DV awareness classes. They are a pretty well-rounded entity when it comes to domestic violence and women in general. And they even will support men, if the need calls for it. So, just be honest with somebody. Even if you don't want to tell DHS, I get that, but tell somebody. Reach out, ask for help, because not all of us can do this on our own. Some of us need that extra help. And I really hope that this was helpful. I don't know that it is, but I hope, that there are people out there that are hearing my channel and hearing my words, and, that resonating in people to stand up and be heard. My dad used to say when I was growing up, "Speak up, be heard, Amy," because I was really shy. So when I would speak up very, very quietly, and it's one thing to talk about this kind of stuff behind closed doors, but to step up and say this on a national level or a worldwide level, like with YouTube, it takes bravery and courage, and all of us have that in us. Think about what we've survived, men and women. Think about what we've survived so far. This is easy compared, so I just really hope my words resonate in people, and that I'm able to help in any way. And if anyone has a request on a topic they want me to talk about, please feel free to comment below, or reach out to me on the Facebook group. I have started a Facebook group for parents dealing with DHS and trying to find ways to stay positive. And I know with DV it is super hard to stay positive. I get that. It's scary. But that doesn't mean that it's not possible. Hang in there, reach out when you can, and take positivity in the fact that you will survive this, that you will get out, and that you and your children will be safe. It may be, a pretty rough road to that safety, but it's there. It exists. You're okay. I promise. And remember, it's not who we are. It's something that happened to us. And just don't let that trauma drive, anything. So I know for me it drove my addiction pretty hard, and it drove that negativity train, so to speak. So I was constantly in this state of negative, and I practically lived in the negative realm. And that's not good for anybody. It's not good for us. It's not good for our children. And it certainly doesn't help. It doesn't help us get out. So, like I said, I hope this helps somebody. I hope it brings comfort at the very least to know that you're not alone. Um, and just hang in there, guys. There is an end. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Just stay positive. Be a lotus.